Today's date is August 9th, 2024, and the title of the episode is Scrambling to Explain the Failing Economy? Right on schedule? Wait for it. Let's talk about protecting our wealth. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it's natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. But there's one asset that stands the test of time, and that is gold. For centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals to help protect your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up your gold IRA has never been easier with Noble Gold Investments' streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, don't let election volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to x22gold.com, that's x22gold.com, or click the link in the description. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the powerful central bank, the World Economic Forum, everything that they have done to try to bring us into the Great Reset, the Green New Scam, is pretty much now exposing the entire central bank system, the deep state, and the people who want to bring us into their new system and destroy their old system. And they never expected the people to be awake. They never expected the people to understand what was going on. They thought people would be afraid in their homes, locked down, the economy would be destroyed, or we would have a great war. Either way, they thought people would notice what was going on. The problem is the people are noticing what is going on, and they feel it every single day. This is why they couldn't get the Green New Scam off the launch pad here. This is why every time they try to convince us that the economy is doing well, the people realize that the economy is not doing well because they feel this every single day. So everything that they tried to do is not working, especially with the D's who from the very beginning said, listen, if you vote for the Inflationary Reduction Act, everything's going to be fine because we need this money to make the economy look incredible. Well, it's the same exact narrative that they used with the COVID vaccines. Get the COVID vaccine, you're going to stop the spread of COVID. You won't get COVID. It was all a lie. The same thing with the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bill. All they wanted was money to launder it all across the world and bring it back to themselves and put it in their pocket. They didn't do anything to help the economy. Actually, what they did was they made the economy worse. And all the installed leaders across the globe, they did the same exact thing. They followed suit, and what happened? The economy is now falling apart. Now, of course, everyone's looking at the D's, everyone's looking at the Federal Reserve. In other countries, they're looking at their installed leaders and the central bank system. Now, of course, the central bank system, they don't want to be blamed for all this, so they're already preparing to bring us into war. They're already preparing to blame this on some other event. But in the end, this is going to fail, and it's going to fail big, because Trump, he's going to usher in peace. Yes, other nations are going to follow suit, and this is going to leave the central bank, the deep state players, completely exposed for what they have done. And people are not going to forget this because, remember, every step of the way, what are people feeling? They're feeling the economy fall apart, especially when you look at other countries, especially like when you look at Canada. Genevieve Roque-Decter put this out and said, Canada loses jobs for a second straight month. Canada lost approximately 2,800 positions versus expected 25,000. Unemployment rate 6.4%, highest in 2 years. Big rate incoming. It's probably nothing. And when you look at Canada's youth unemployment, it is surging. In July, it jumped 0.7% to 14.2%, the highest since September 2012. And this is excluding the pandemic. And you can see that Canada, the people up there, with inflation, high fuel costs, with people being laid off, people that can't get jobs, you could see the people now are struggling out in Canada. And it's not just Canada. It's pretty much across the globe. People are now struggling. And I do believe this is just going to get worse and worse as time goes on because the central bank system, their entire system now is imploding. Now, of course, they kicked this off during the pandemic. They kicked this off at a time where they thought people wouldn't be paying attention because they'd be trapped in their homes, they'd be afraid, and the economy would fall apart around them. They never expected the pandemic to go away. They never expected the people to go back to work. They never expected children to go back to school. They never expected people to take their masks off and forget about the pandemic, or should we say the plandemic. But now everyone has forgotten about it, and everyone's looking at the economy, and they really can't say, oh, this is all because of the pandemic, because it's been years now after the pandemic. And of course, here in this country, they've been telling us that they needed the Inflation Reduction Act. They needed all this money to actually help the economy, which actually made it worse. So what do they think the people are recognizing now? They're recognizing that everything that they've done is completely hurting the economy. Everything they have done is a complete and utter lie. And when you look at the Green New Scam, that is also a lie. I mean, let's just go back a little bit in time. During COVID, during the plandemic, remember when Kamala Harris was recharging an electric car and she held on to it just like she was filling up a gas-powered car? Well, again, you don't have to hold the chargers. You can just let go of them because they clip in, just like when you plug in a cord into an outlet. So once again, these are the people that are trying to convince us that this is the direction we should head in. And remember, there has been no demand for the electric vehicles. There's no demand for windmills and solar panels. If there was a huge demand, these companies would be doing absolutely incredible. They wouldn't need subsidies. The government wouldn't even have to help them. But since there is no demand from the people, what does the government have to do? They have to make it look like there's demand from the people. So they give them subsidies. They keep funding them until they can't do it anymore. And we can see their entire push has completely and utterly fallen apart. Just like their carbon push is falling apart. Wall Street Apes put this out and said, this is big. I'm not making it up. University of Nebraska just got done with one of their studies that the way to save the world on carbon is to raise more cows. And that's because cows are carbon negative. They produce more oxygen than they put off methane and carbon. It means to eat more cheeseburgers or steaks, beef, to save the world. According to the 2023 University of Nebraska Lincoln report, beef production can be climate neutral or even better if management practices are optimized to minimize emissions and maximize abilities to store carbon. Some of the ways UNL research suggests that cattle's carbon footprint can be reduced include diet. Cattle that eat more forage and added fats produce less methane and other greenhouse gases than those that eat more grain and less forage. Fat supplements can also reduce the need for grain. Production efficiency. Improving production efficiency can result in more cattle being marketed or more live weight being produced while using fewer resources. This can be achieved through breeding, feeding, and health programs. Buying beef is going to reduce the carbon problem. And we need carbon, by the way. Think about this for a sec. Think about the lies the deep state, the central bank, the World Economic Forum has been telling us. Really what they're trying to do is they're trying to control the people, bring us into these little cities, keep us there, make sure we don't have any way to travel, and they don't want us eating their food supply. They don't want us using their land because they believe what's out there in the world, it's all theirs. And the people should never have access to it. But again, this is all falling apart because study after study that is coming out right now is actually debunking everything that they have told us. And actually, if they're going to prove to us that we have major problems, they must give us peer-reviewed documentation. Not just these studies that they pay for because they're giving grants to scientists, and if they want to keep receiving these grants, they just lie to the people, just like with COVID. They need to give us peer-reviewed documentation showing us the truth, because everything that they predicted, all the studies that they have told us, not one of them has come true. Let's talk about protecting our wealth. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it's natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. But there's one asset that stands the test of time, and that is gold. For centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals to help protect your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diverse Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up your gold IRA has never been easier with Noble Gold Investments, streamlined process, and expert guidance. This election year, don't let election volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to x22gold.com. That's x22gold.com or click the link in the description. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. They've lied from the beginning and they're continually lying. But the people, they're starting to figure out. The people are starting to understand. Just like the people are understanding that they have been fabricating the data. Of course they have for the economy, because why do they have to do this? Because otherwise people would realize the economy is in the dumper and the central bank system doesn't work. If they kept the same calculations from the very, very beginning, you know what people would see? The people would see, oh, look, there's 3,000+% in inflation. Oh, look, there is no manufacturing. Oh, look, the GDP number is dead in the water. Everything that's happening right now is because of the service industry. We're no longer a manufacturing powerhouse. The unemployment number would be through the roof. People would be looking at this going, okay, this economy really, really sucks. Add on top of that all the debt. People see the debt, but again, you have to understand, this is a central bank system. Their system is run on debt. This is not how a true economy is supposed to run. This is their system, and we were sucked into it by the criminals of this country. But again, they're continually manipulating their numbers. Javier Blas put this out and said, oil market. As I had expected, the government has massively revised U.S. demand for April upward based on monthly data from the early estimate based on weekly. Total U.S. oil demand pegged at 20 million barrels in April, up from initial estimate of 19. Zero Hedge responded to this and said the Biden admin will not stop fabricating data and draining the SPR to push the price of oil lower. No, we're in a presidential election, and they're going to continually do this. They're going to continually try to maintain the oil prices, which will then control inflation, and they're going to try to convince the people that the economy is doing well. But the people, they're experiencing how the economy is actually falling apart. They see the higher food prices. They see the higher fuel prices. They see inflation is really hitting. And it's not just food. It's not just fuel. When you look at insurance, you could see that insurance is skyrocketing. The Copisi letter on X put this out and said, home insurance prices in the U.S. are absurdly expensive. The average home insurance premium is now $2,191 per year. It is estimated that by the end of 2024, home insurance in Florida, the most expensive state, will reach $11,759. This builds on a 33% jump in home insurance premiums seen between 2020 and 2023. This is partly why the median monthly home payment is well above a record $3,000 a month in many states. Homeownership has never been more expensive. And that's absolutely true. Homeowner insurance is off the charts right now, and it's getting worse and worse. Same thing with medical, same thing with auto. Everyone is starting to experience it. Everyone is starting to see it. And the people realize that, hey, this has nothing to do with Trump. Biden has been in the White House. Kamala has been in the White House. They've been telling us that we need the Inflation Reduction Act. They've been telling us that we need the infrastructure bill. And they told us that everything was going to be fine. If they just get that, everything will be absolutely fantastic. Well, I think the people are now seeing the opposite. The people are seeing that, no, things aren't better. Actually, things are a lot worse. And I do believe this is why they're out there where they're warning that Harris must find the right message on the economy. Because again, they're the ones who caused this. So how are they going to spin it to make everyone believe that the economy is doing well? And I do believe this is why they're going to need the Fed to actually convince people that everything that they've done is working. The people aren't going to buy it. I mean, think about this. Kamala is doing her rallies, and she says prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it, and I know it. When I am president, it will be a day one priority to fight to bring down prices. Wait a minute. You're vice president right now. Biden is doing all of this. You are part of the administration. You caused this. Why don't you just fix it right now? Why are you waiting until you're elected? I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. See, yeah, it makes sense where Trump's saying, listen, when I get back into office, I'm going to fix this. He's not in office. He's not controlling this. But when you're the one that caused the problem and you're the one who's saying that I'm going to fix it once I get into office and I'm president, that's ridiculous. Because you told us that we need to vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to solve the problems. You told us that, hey, going into the Green New Deal, this is going to be incredible. Actually, everything that you said, and I'm talking about Kamala, is the opposite. So they caused the problem, and now they're telling you the only way to fix the problem that they caused is to vote them in again? What idiot would ever do that? It doesn't make sense. It's like Biden coming out saying, listen, I lowered the inflation from 9%, but you caused the inflation to go to 9%. It's like someone, like a trainer, who says, listen, I know I brought you up 200 pounds, but remember, I made you lose 100. Am I incredible or what? No, you made me gain 200 pounds. So basically, I gained 100 under your watch. That's what happened with Biden. Fuel prices went up under Biden, under Kamala Harris. Food prices went up under Biden, under Kamala Harris. The economy is ripping itself apart because of what they did. What moron would ever vote for someone that caused the problem and this person's trying to convince you that I'll fix the problem that I caused? It makes no sense. But again, they have no way out of this. They are trapped. The only thing they can do is say, listen, we've done such a fantastic job that we're going to have the Fed, and of course they're not going to tell you this, but this is really what they're doing. We're going to have the Fed bring down the rates to prove to everyone that we made the economy so much better. And I do believe once the Fed cuts the rates, you're going to see Kamala, you're going to see Biden, especially Kamala, or maybe whoever else is running, that look, the rates came down. That proves that the economy is much, much better than when we started, until the entire system completely and utterly falls apart. You see, everyone's looking at the market and they think, oh, this is just a little correction. Everything's fine now. Everything's great. This was the first drip out there to let everyone know there's something wrong with the market. Because the next time the market does it, they'll make another excuse. Well, this is just another little correction. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Until it happens again. And then we have the big one. So people, they're starting to learn. The people are starting to see this. And the people are going to be questioning this. Just like they're questioning Kamala Harris, where they're trying to convince us now that they're all for Bitcoin, even though in the background, you have to remember, you have to watch their actions. Their actions tell you everything you need to know. In the background, what they're really doing is they can't stand Bitcoin. They're in line with the Federal Reserve. They're in line with the central banks around the world. And they don't want another currency except for the central bank digital currency. So if they're all for Bitcoin, Tyler Winklevoss asked a very simple question. Can anyone explain why Kamala Harris didn't attend the crypto roundtable yesterday? I understand that she's on the campaign trail, but the meeting was virtual. All she needed was an internet connection. So why didn't she want to join in on this if she's all for Bitcoin? If she's backing Bitcoin? Because she's really not. And once again, I don't think she can actually join the Bitcoin roundtable. Not like Trump. She can't really show up in person, discuss Bitcoin. Because once again, if she does this and she says she's all for it and then she turns against it, people are going to see that and people are going to remember that. And I don't think anyone's really going to believe her when she shows up anyhow, if she ever shows up. I mean, she hasn't done any type of interviews or anything like that. Again, they're saving her. They want her for the DNC. They don't want her screwing up before that. But you can see where this is all headed. They're in line with the central bank. They're getting prepared and ready to convince everyone that the economy is doing well. And we know it's going to happen. As soon as they say the rates come down, look at the economy, it's doing well. The economy is going to implode, but at the same time, they're going to probably use a cyber attack because we know from the World Economic Forum, we know from the IMF, they've already told us that this is going to happen. So they're going to try to shift everything and blame it on that. But the problem is Trump. Trump, he's going to usher in peace. He's going to stop the entire process. And this is going to be a major, major problem for them. And everything's going to be pointing to them. So once again, you could see where this is all headed. You could see why they're trying to control the narrative of what the economy is doing. But I think in the end, it's all going to fail. And I do believe Trump is going to use this leverage to show the people that they have destroyed the economy. And Trump is going to show the world that he can fix it and we can make this a lot better. Now, again, I do believe that this is going to put a lot of the focus on the central bank. And I do believe in the end, the central bank will cease to exist the way we know it.